The question of the day: should cruisers share with cruise lines when they have COVID-19 symptoms? It sounds like an easy question. It sounds like, yes, you should probably do the responsible thing and share that. But so many Americans have waited so long to cruise, and there have been documented examples that they show up to the port, they have symptoms, but they want on that ship. They don't share their symptoms. The new conditional sell order and new report points out a specific example that I will share with you today that will blow your mind. We will also talk about today the difference in the new conditional sell order and the previous conditional sell order. There's all kinds of news out there, and we're going to cover it right now on Island Time. Happy Saturday. It's the weekend, and I am thankful. I am still not recovered and recharged since my cruise, October the 21st through the 25th on the Carnival Breeze. It was an awesome cruise, but I will tell you, I did not sleep. Went to bed at 4 a.m., woke up at 6 a.m. for 4 days. That used to be easy. It's getting tougher and tougher. I hope you're having a good weekend. I want to remind you, tomorrow night we have a date. Don't bail on me. Don't flake on me. Show up to the date. 7 o'clock p.m. Central Time. You and I are going to go live. I'm going to be there to answer your questions on protocols, on ship food, entertainment, the breeze, the Carnival Breeze itself. I will share my review, some more details that I haven't shared already. And I will have a video tomorrow morning as well that will share some of my immediate thoughts. But we're going to go live. I can't wait to see you there. Today we're going to continue with this conditional sell order because there is all kinds of substance here. 54 pages is what the CDC has released. They have extended the conditional sell order on Monday, but we're really diving into the details as this document is large. It's larger than the previous conditional sell order, and it shares a lot of details that you and I have been hoping for. So let's talk about this first, okay? I opened this video with a question: if you had COVID-19 symptoms, should you share that with cruise lines? That answer, of course, is yes. No matter how hard it may be, no matter how long you've waited, how many canceled cruises that you've had, and you've rebooked, the excitement that you have, if you don't feel right, don't get on the ship. I know it's tough. And I know sometimes you're thinking probably right now, that's common sense. That's what everyone should do, but that's not what everyone is doing. In the conditional sell order, the new framework for cruising, I will share this example with you, okay? Here we go. Despite the implementation of strict protocols by cruise lines operators to prevent the introduction of COVID-19 from passengers, ensuring passengers are unaffected at embarkation has proven difficult. There have been several instances of passengers being symptomatic on the day of embarkation and denying symptoms to the cruise line, or passengers being symptomatic for several days on board the ship before reporting their symptoms to the medical center. These situations have led to complex contact tracing investigations due to the number of contacts exposed between presumed onset of infectiousness and when infection was identified and the passenger isolated. And we're about to move forward, but I have to stop and share this. We all love cruising. We do. It was a tough year and a half not cruising. It really was, and not meeting people, seeing people, getting a break from reality. But if you don't feel right at embarkation, or if you don't feel right once you're on the ship, day 2, 3, 4, something is off. For the benefit of you, you have to stop and share, I don't feel right. The medical center will take care of you. They'll test you. They'll take care of you. And it may be that you're negative. That would be, of course, the hope. But it may be that you're positive. So protect yourself, and to allow yourself to keep cruising for years to come, you have to tell those on board. And on behalf of everyone else that's there. You know, you may think whatever you think of COVID. You may you may think, oh, I feel a little bit bad, but not really that bad. Everyone else there has a family, they have jobs, they have responsibilities, and to put them at risk by not telling the medical unit that, hey, I don't feel good, it's irresponsible. If you don't feel good, say something. You will cruise again. If you say something, you're tested, you're taken care of, you'll get back on a ship again. If you don't say something, you may not even get off the ship alive. That's what happens right here. Look at these details in the conditional sell order. For example, a passenger on cruise ship F. Remember, the CDC did not provide the name of cruise ships. Probably an agreement between cruise lines and the CDC, but cruise ship F, a passenger on cruise ship F who is fully vaccinated and had tested negative for COVID 3 days before boarding. So that was the protocol in mid-August to the end of September and just about all of September, okay? They boarded the ship while symptomatic for COVID-19, but denied having symptoms. Okay, so tested negative, but had symptoms. And maybe they thought it's not COVID because I was just tested, right? We know that a test, it could be negative, positive. You know how tests can change. The passenger died 3 days later after boarding for reasons related to COVID-19. This led the CDC and the cruise line taking the following public health actions. So here's what the protocols were when this person passed away. Contact tracing to identify exposed persons, which included interviews of passengers and crew, review of security footage, and analysis of wearable technology and other relevant location data. And of course, the analysis of wearable technology, you can exclude certain cruise lines. This was not a Carnival Cruise Line ship because they're not using that technology. Notifications to close contacts to advise them to monitor for symptoms, and to federal, state, and local partners in 2 states. Screening, testing to identify those who could have been effective, isolation for close contacts who tested positive for COVID-19, and quarantine for close contacts who tested negative for COVID-19, but could still have developed the illness during the incubation period. Based on these time-sensitive and labor-intensive public health actions, the cruise lines identified over 30 close contacts from 1 infected passenger. So this passenger not sharing that they're not feeling right, not sharing their symptoms, they lost their life. And over 30 contacts, their vacation, their cruise was ruined. They had to stay in their room. They tested positive. They had to struggle with the illness. And so it's incredible to see situations like this, that the CDC has taken time to document these. This is what we've been asking for, and they're finally taking time to do it. Let's turn now to how this conditional sell order is different than others, because it is different. It really is. Differences in the new conditional sell order. I thought it was interesting now that they've changed the language on which ships, which cruise lines must abide by the conditional sell order. They've changed it. It used to just say vessels or ships. Okay, now it's U.S. flagged ships are exempt. If Carnival Cruise Line or Royal Caribbean had ships that were flagged in the United States, they would not have to go by the conditional sell order, although they probably would. They have the option to not go by it in Florida, and they still do. But the CDC added foreign flagged to the generic termed cruise ships, indicating that U.S. flagged ships over 250 passengers are no longer bound to the conditional sell order. I thought that was interesting, especially that it's the Pride of America. Norwegian's Pride of America is the only U.S. flagged ship. It sells to the Hawaiian Islands, but that's the only ship that it would even relate to. So I thought that was interesting, but it is something different in the new conditional sell order. Marketing can be warning free. Okay, previous to this new conditional sell order, which expires January the 15th of 2022, there had to be warnings on advertisements. Cruise lines will no longer be required to include CDC warnings, advisories, or recommendations in marketing material. Okay, that is great news for cruise lines when you don't receive a piece of mail, an email, and it's got something about COVID on it that could scare away potential customers. While it's unclear how closely this provision has been executed and enforced as of November 1st, coming up here in just a couple of days, cruise lines don't need to include any cautions, though some may continue to give a warning. It's all about liability, right? Longer cruises are allowed. You'll probably remember when the CDC first created and implemented the conditional sail order, you could not have cruises longer than 7 days. Carnival and other cruise lines, the 8-day cruises were in limbo for a while. They removed them from the website. You could not book them. And then they were, of course, allowed to resume. But the requirement that cruises be limited to 7 nights or less will no longer apply as of November 1st. And honestly, it has not applied because 8-night cruises have been sailing. But some of those longer cruises, 10-day, 14 days that have been scheduled for 2022, and in question a little bit, bookings have been open, but still not official that they could go. They will be able to go. So that's really good. And if there's a COVID-19 outbreak, your cruise may continue to sail. Okay, before, if you had there was a threshold of if there were a certain amount of cases on a cruise ship, a certain percent of passengers were sick, that cruise ship had immediately returned back. It was in red status. The cruise is shut down. But now the conditional sail order advises that ending the cruise in this scenario may not occur, that the cruise may be able to continue depending on the situation. So I thought that was interesting too. And finally, there is a path to transition from fully vaccinated cruises, 100% vaccinated of passengers, or 95% vaccination of passengers, to a lower number. I know so many of you have been ready to hear this. Some of you are not vaccinated for, it could be a health reason, a religious reason, or any other reason. But we're starting to see now the light at the end of the tunnel of this 95% threshold, and it being impossible to get an exemption of that number coming down. For the first time, the CDC has outlined a process for cruise ships that are sailing at fully vaccinated, 95 to 100%, to transition to cruises with fewer vaccinated passengers without having to go through a simulated voyage. So they're not going to have to test this policy when they drop from 95% to 90% to 85% to 80%. They're not going to have to test it. That is good news for those who have been looking for to cruise and who are not vaccinated. The new requirements involve the cruise line submitting operational plans to the CDC, which has happened time and time again during this restart, and notify passengers who booked the sailing as fully vaccinated that it would no longer be operated as such. So if you booked your cruise because you feel safe and going because it is a fully vaccinated cruise, if these thresholds, 95%, start to come down, you'll be notified that, hey, your cruise is not a fully vaccinated cruise, okay? We'll see what that looks like. We're not exactly sure what that looks like yet, but it is already in the works, and I know that some of you are happy for that. I hope you've enjoyed this information. We will have more news on the conditional sail order. There is so much there to break down, so stay with us. We're going to break them down in small videos. If you enjoy the content, please give us a thumbs up. And if you are not subscribed yet and you are not an Islander, please consider subscribing. We would love for you to be part of this community. We will talk to you tomorrow as we go live, 7 o'clock p.m. Central Time, right here on Island Time.